Hi students, hope all of you are safe. Okay, today we are going to start the first class of our new academic session. In this class, we will learn about the first chapter, Medieval World Centers of Power and the basic ideas of medieval period. First, medieval period. As you know, the history of the world and India is divided into three broad periods: ancient, medieval, and modern. The medieval period. The medieval period in India spans over a millennium, that is 1000 years, from 8th century Common Era to 18th century Common Era. But in Europe, medieval period began in the 5th century CE. There are two phases of medieval period in India. Early medieval period starting from 8th century to 13th century CE, and later medieval period starting from 13th century CE to 18th century CE. Now let's look into early medieval period. The early medieval period saw political struggles among regional kingdoms of both north and south. The Rajputs in the north and the Cholas in the south were the prominent kingdoms. The distinctive cultural characteristics of the regional kingdoms spread in the new regions that came under them. Now, let us see what happens in the later medieval period. Muslim conquerors from Central Asia, especially the Turks, the Afghans, and the Mughals ruled India. The Khaljis, the Tughlaqs, and the Mughals established mighty dynasties. Islamic customs influenced political, economic, social, and cultural life in India, and the Indo-Islamic culture grew in a big way. Now, let us understand what is cartography. Cartography is the art or skill of drawing and making maps, and the person who makes maps is referred to as a cartographer. Cartography and the medieval India. Cartography or map making was unknown in ancient India. The Arabs and the Europeans who undertook long journeys over sea and land developed cartography. Hence, it was introduced to Indians by the Arabs and the Europeans. European traders. Towards the end of the 15th century, Europeans began direct trade with Indian seaports. Portuguese came first, followed by the English, Dutch, and the French. By the mid-18th century, the British beat the French to be dominant political force in India. This marked the beginning of the modern age in India. These are the basic ideas of medieval world.
Now we are going to start the chapter-wise analysis of
medieval world centers of power. In this period, lots of dynasties existed.
The political structure of the medieval world was similar. There were differences in the forms of authority. First, Roman Empire. The Roman Empire was the largest ancient empire. For administrative convenience, the Roman Emperor Diocletian divided the empire into two in the 4th century CE. Thus, there emerged two empires: the Western Roman Empire with the capital at Rome, and the Eastern Roman Empire with its capital at Constantinople. Constantinople, earlier known as Byzantium. Hence, the Eastern Roman Empire was otherwise called Byzantine Empire. Justinian was the famous Eastern Roman Emperor. The observation of Wilduran about Justinian: history will judiciously forget the wars of Justinian and remember him for his laws. The greatest contribution of Justinian is the codification of all the existing Roman laws into a code of law. This is known as Corpus Juris Civilis. Justinian Code is based on the principles of reasoning, justice, and generosity. Corpus Juris Civilis can be divided into three: the Code, the Digest, and the Institutes. The book containing the laws prevailed in the Roman Empire is called the Code. The book which records the opinions of the jurists regarding the laws called Digest. The small book intended for the study of law called Institutes. The Eastern Roman Empire began to decline after Justinian. Next, Holy Roman Empire. The Western Roman Empire, with its capital at Rome, came to an end due to the continuous invasions of the Germanic tribes. The territories of the Roman Empire were captured by different tribes. The most prominent among them was the Franks. The empire established by the Franks was the Frankish Empire. The famous emperor of the Frankish Empire was Charlemagne of the Carolingian dynasty. The empire of Charlemagne was larger than the Eastern Roman Empire. Charlemagne saved Pope Leo III, the spiritual head of the Catholic Church, from the tribal attack of the Lombards. As a token of gratitude, the Pope crowned him as the Holy Roman Emperor. Hence, his empire came to be known as Holy Roman Empire. Charlemagne was a great conqueror as well as an efficient administrator. He brought almost all the Western European regions under his sway. He expanded his empire through political alliances and matrimonial relations. He introduced centralized administration in his empire. Local administration was entrusted to officers known as counts. To keep an effective check upon the activities of the counts, he created a secret department named Mici Dominici. Relief funds were created for helping the poor. A network of educational institutions was established under the leadership of Charlemagne. The resultant intellectual awakening was known as the Carolingian Renaissance. With the death of Charlemagne, the Frankish Empire was divided and gradually collapsed. Let's conclude our topic. Eastern Roman Empire was the largest ancient empire. Roman Empire can be divided into two: Eastern Roman Empire and the Western Roman Empire. The famous Eastern Roman Emperor was Justinian. His contribution was Corpus Juris Civilis. Justinian Code was based on reasoning, justice, and generosity. The famous emperor of the Frankish Empire was Charlemagne. He introduced centralized administration. He created relief funds for helping the poor. Educational institutions was established. These are the basic ideas about today's topic. Hope all of you understood today's topic. Thank you.